Harry, you're in my seat, buddy. 4 ways you can respond to your pain and symptoms that can support your healing from neuroplastic pain and mind-body concerns. The way we respond to our pain really matters. Trust me, I know this from experience. And if we're responding to our pain or symptoms with fear, frustration, despair, annoyance, anger, or anything that causes more dysregulation in your nervous system, it's going to trigger and perpetuate your symptoms over time. And so we need to change our emotional response. So I came up with 4 different ways you can do this. So let's dive into the list. Number 1, respond to your pain and symptoms in a calm, easy, and light way. This sounds obvious, but it's really hard to do. I know from experience when I was in the deep despairs of pain that it's hard to respond to your symptoms in this way. But it can go a long way if we can actually get there. And so whether you're doing somatic tracking or some somatic awareness and just connecting with your body, or polyvagal breathing practices, which I have a video on, which I'll link to the top here, all of these things help us have a more calm response to our pain and symptoms. And it can take and remove the dysregulation that we're feeling around them. As I always say, we don't need to change the pain or symptoms, we need to change the emotional response to it. So moving forward in your day, see when the pain comes up or the symptom comes up, if you can try to cultivate a calm, light, and easy attitude around it. Number 2, respond to your pain and symptoms with love, appreciation, and compassion. Now, this might sound a little radical to you all, especially if you're new to this mind-body journey. But what happens with our chronic pain and symptoms is we start to fight against them. We're trying to control them or make them go away. And this just causes us to become more dysregulated. But what love, appreciation, and compassion do on a nervous system level is it brings about a sense of regulation into our system. And over time, this can help reduce our symptoms because we're no longer fighting against them. So one thing that I would do a lot when I was recovering is I developed a self-compassion practice, which I have some videos on this that I'll link to the top here. And once I started to feel compassion or love for myself internally, I would direct that energy almost with my breathing towards my pain or symptoms, almost imagining bathing them in love and compassion. Now, the other thing I would do is I would remind myself that my pain and symptoms were trying to protect me. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to protect me. My brain and nervous system was doing the best it could to protect me. I just didn't like the way it was going about it. And so I would give messages of appreciation to my pain and symptoms, to my brain and nervous system and body, that they were all trying to protect me. And I would give appreciation, but I would also remind it that I was going to now move forward by protecting myself. Number 3, respond to your pain and symptoms with indifference. We can't heal by still being hyper-focused on our symptoms and watching them like a hawk. When I was in chronic pain, I thought about my pain and symptoms 80 to 90% of my day. And by doing that, I was giving my brain and nervous system the message that there was something really wrong with my body. And so to heal, I actually worked on cultivating an indifferent attitude about my symptoms. So I gave my pain a funny name, called it Fred. I talked to it in an indifferent way, being like, I don't really care what you're doing. I'm going to keep living my life. And then behaviorally, I started to approach life again. And regardless of where my pain was at, as long as I wasn't pushing myself too far, I would engage with the world around me. And by doing this, I was less focused on my symptoms. They took up a less big piece of the pie. And then my healing really started to take off. So practice cultivating indifference as a way of responding to your pain and symptoms. And finally, number 4, respond to your pain and symptoms by viewing them as a meaningful message. Instead of responding to your pain with terror, frustration, annoyance, or anger, view them as meaningful messages from your brain and nervous system. Now, when the brain and nervous system feel in danger and we're caught in survival mode, it produces chronic pain and chronic symptoms. This is what causes neuroplastic pain in and of itself. And so when I was recovering, I started to view my pain and symptoms as a meaningful message in the situation they were occurring. So I looked out for what were the cues of danger my nervous system was starting to pick up. Was my perfectionism out of control? Was I people-pleasing? Was I viewing my body as damaged? Was I feeling anxious or on high alert? Was there a stressful situation taking place? Or was some of my trauma being triggered? By viewing it as a meaningful message, we can actually learn to do something about it. Make adjustments in our daily life or do some of the inner work in response to the pain and symptoms occurring. And by doing this, we can actually start to cultivate safety in our nervous system over time. Now, I have lots of videos on nervous system regulation you can check out on this channel, but start to view your pain and symptoms as a message, a meaningful message from your nervous system. And by doing this, we can start to make small steps towards safety in a variety of different ways. So I hope this video was helpful. Please put your questions or comments down below. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you all next week. Happy healing. Oh, you are so adorable, baby. You are so cute. Yeah. Hermione, say hi. I'll talk to you all next week.